Ke buile mahoko a gore challenge it right.
Yeah.
That we must admit. We cannot run away from that fact gore there's still a challenge ya public trust. Mainly because batho ga ba ise ba tlhaloganye this thing se re se bitsang re online report kana online media ya rona mo lehatsheng la Botswana.
Jaanong ka re ga o bua jalo ka ibile ra lemoga gore banana ke bone ba ileng gore tla itlhela ba hitlhella tsone di platform tsa go nna jalo mo maranyaneng ga ya nong go sena tshepo ye kalo-kalo ka hao ka teng a mme ka nna motswedi wo motho a ka o ikanyang mo nakong ye ya ditlhopho ye go ka leka go phutha dikgang go ka leka go sedimosa
an organization e tshwana le one ya rona bo online media association. We expect gore di maloko a rona adhere to a set standard. Yano ya ka o bua kana issue e leng teng ye leng gore tshwantse go re address. It's an issue ya gore how do we build this trust, and it comes in a lot of layers. One of the things se leng gore we cannot take away from online media ke issue ya rona ya gore gompie ko interaction ke yone e leng gore re rekisa ka yona ka o buile mme le rona feedback as online platforms, we need to take it, sit down, review it, re lekelle gore re lebelle go improve ya ka ke buile gone mme tota re mothei le baretsi the issue e leng teng right, it's still an issue e leng gore we must address it, not just necessarily as an organ, but also even at a national level, because radio leading the right. We still have a lot of things and a lot of things that we must improve about these things sa online media, but particularly from a
public re lebelle gore mo lehatsheng la rona ga re lebile ditlhopho le ka ga gongwe bobega dikgang jo mohamo o itebaganya le ditlhopho ka teng le dikgang tsa ditlhopho ka teng o ka re seemo ke se sentseng jang mo nakong ya gompieno in terms of issues of impartiality, in terms of issues of objectivity ke batla go tlhaloganya gore wena o bona seemo le se sentseng jang mme bile go nna le kganya gore ba ska ba iphitlhela ba elangwe go na le dikgatlhego dingwe tse leng gore ba itebaganya le tsone go na le gore ba bege dikgang tse leng gore di tlhamaletse.
I think I would start it with a phrase that says you can't bite the hand that feeds you, because most of them they still operate under the office of the president. It's not an independent organ, and hence why even when the president is making these international trips and going to these international forums, he specifically picks people from the public media and does not include anyone from the private media. It is basically because they want them to drive the government agenda or the party that is in governance at that particular point. So it's and issues of impartiality are very difficult to get from the public media. And I think this is also evident on that ombudsman report that once came out in terms of coverage of elections. And nothing has really changed, because even the decisions of the ombudsman are not binding. I don't know if it's a recommendation or it's just nyami ensure there is fair coverage as we go to towards elections or when we are in an election season. So for me, I've not seen an equal coverage of political parties going into elections since I started following elections from the year of 2009. It has always been the party that is ruling that will get the majority of coverage. Then I think personally what needs to happen based on the popular vote, and 46% of the people voted for the ruling party, which is not a situation that we see in South Africa. It's not winner takes it all. In proportional representation, I don't know how much they've got the last election. Is it 51 or 55% of the popular vote, the ruling party? That is the BDP, followed by UDC. I don't know, and AP, I think, which were the major players in the previous elections. Coverage, give it to them based on the number of people or number of votes they had garnered in the previous elections. That, for me, that would be a fair way of ensuring where everybody gets airways or airspace in the public TV, as well as the radio stations and even the print media. But the situation that is prevailing, re cover a minister, and Mapalamente, they don't really get enough coverage. And for me, I think it's the playing field is not leveled because ministers will get more coverage. Mapalamente, that the ruling party, then how the opposition it's by luck for you to get coverage. So I think that needs to be looked into and even change our electoral law. Our electoral law ensuring that all parties that have participated in the previous elections should get coverage.
When now we and now we're of course moving into the role of public media outlets in democratic governance.
Nyare Motshego o buila gore ra itshwa gona tekatekane. And I mean he mentioned it rightfully gore you'd even have as far as complaining di tswa mo mapalamenteng a pa yone party busang gore you don't even understand gore gompieko ga te mango cover jang go rileng particularly ka gore go ke mang and whatever. But se ke si buang kana go se ke le kang go setlaleletsa mo re Motshego se bule ke issue ya gore gone I think le makgotla a rona a tshwanang le one IEC se na ke dumela gore we must have these broad engagement, particularly not just as BOPA Illinois kana as government media Illinois. I think we must have an engagement overall le bobega digang and even at a level at all party conference level. We must engage and try and see what in terms of election coverage le fairness gore re ka advocate la ka tsela ntseng jang
ladies o etsa sa tlhaloganye so ga re ikopantse jana re ka re go ka tokagadiwa ha kae ke karolo he ya bobega dikgang e leng gore e tshwana go gore go itebagangwe le yone thela thata gore mo pakeng e tlang e be re itse gore re tla re le botoka.
I think to start off with, maybe because on some of the issues, on the issues of online media or online publication, it's very important that as the traditional media, we embrace them. There's a role that they play in our democratic space. And I mean, I'm not only saying this in this country, but it cut across. I mean, in the region, if you follow the news outlets in South Africa, you'll see the same. In UK, it's actually huge, where every hour, if you don't have access to TV along where it's live and things like that, you are able to get up-to-the-minute updates on Facebook and then even Twitter, where you see this is what they said. And we can actually, even when you work on radio, you can download those clips and they can be broadcasted. And generally in this country, the role that they play is that they are able to break stories and people will see them. And in Jacob Kanya Public Trust, they would wait for a traditional media to come and confirm if it is true or not. And I'm going to give you a clear example of what they've done recently. Nakwaha Mahalape, is it East MP, Yandani Boko? There was one that wrote he's going to resign, and he was not happy at the party. He came out and denied those allegations. What happened 2 weeks down the line? He resigned, verifying and making truthful that forum. We do have some of the editors from the online publications, but we sit down and they contribute immensely into the development of the media in this country.
Right. Rempuang, we have citizen journalists. Ba ileng gore ra tle re bone le bone ba nna le keletso ya gore ba itebaganye le dikgang tse di leng teng. Gongwe ke batla go tlhaloganya mo go wena gore ba ka akarediwa ka tselentseng jang go netefatsa gore ga ba ete ba latlha batho. Gongwe ka go tlhoka kitso ene e leng gore lona le ka tswa lena le yone borre Motshego ba ka tswa bana le yone gore re ba lemoge le sabe sa bone me re ba tsenya mo tseleng gore ba ska ba hapoga kana re ska itlhera le bone ba ileng gore ba hetla dikgang tse eleng gore ga dina boamaruri.
Tota le rona re le mokgatlho, one of the things we realized was that gompieko ke kgona go emela phakela be ke le Motlhophi FM be ke kwala ke be ga dikgang. But in our statutes ka re ntseng ka teng go nna leloko la rena as leloko la boma, we expect you to incorporate re batla gore re dile le wena o le komponi e leng gore e ka tseelwa dikgato le wena e ka tseela batho dikgato. because one of the things we realized was that we must draw this line in between citizen journalism le professional journalism, because ultimately basically it's not anything too far off from in this traditional media space. It's just a new arm that is coming in to augment so we try as much as possible. We try to say let's rather focus on dealing with institutions rather than as personals, because that has created a problem before, and also trying to draw a line how do we combat these issues, fake news, misinformation and disinformation. So I think it now becomes somewhat of Rona. We're saying we're trying to draw this line between these people and this part, this demographic area, because maybe as time goes on, we will try and find ways of fitting them into the structure. But currently, as where we are, rather delay this problem rather than having to incorporate this particular sector.
Ke batla gore re wetse ka tselentseng jana mo motsotsong o setseng re motshegwe re lebella khanya accessibility go ka hitlhella tsone ditirelo tsa lona kana go ka hitlhella yone metswedi e re ne gore re bua ka ga yone ra itse gore khanya online go na le gore motho gongwe ba sena data e leng gore ka mokgontsha gore ba ka kgona gore a tsene gone mo kana hitlhelle one motswedi wo kana e ka nna kgang hela ya gore motho ga ana maranyane yona e leng gore a tla mokgontsha go ka dira jalo founu tsa malatsing a tse e leng gore di kgona gore be di ka dira jalo kganya accessibility gore ya magole kahe go ka hitlhella dikgang tsone tse e leng gore gongwe ke tsa botlhokwa tsa pakere le mogone.
I think for me, when it comes to online media, they are way ahead of other mediums. And I think even if you can talk to those who are in the print media, they will tell you that the circulation has declined significantly in the last 5 years. And this is not only peculiar to Botswana, it's a global challenge. And I think it's because right now I can be home and reading New York Times. And most people do that we subscribe to online publications across the globe, and we spend a lot of time reading online, and hence why you don't see a lot of newspapers. I think you'll know that in 2019, prior to the elections, you'd see a lot of people discussing headlines of newspapers online, basabala the actual hard copy. So online media has footprint almost everywhere, because even the for you to subscribe for a month is one of the cheapest, comparing to buying a newspaper of 10 pula every week. So it's almost the same amount that you spend online, and having a different variation. So with the radio, I know with private media we do have challenges that we are not in every corner of the world. But I think for now, the three private players currently, they have been assisted hugely by multi-choice. Now everyone who has a multi-choice or a decoder can listen to these three radio stations anywhere in the four corners of Botswana. So in terms of reach, we are there. People can listen to us if we have that thing. I know it comes at a fee, even if it's a 50 pula fee. You would be able to listen and interchange and listen to anyone that you want. So, but for now, I think online is far ahead of everyone else. And hence why I'm saying, whether you are Duma FM, Yarona FM, or Gebs FM, you need to embrace the online publication. And one thing that I would also like to share, we have a sister TV station called YTV. It's one of the most followed because they cut their bulletin into pieces and they put them up on social media. Facebook, it's one of the most watched news bulletins online, even better than BTV in this country. And do you know why? Because of the currency that I was.
Rempuang gongwe ke kope jana gore ba ileng gore bana le khatlego ya gore ba le ikatumetse enne maloko a boma le hitlhelwa jang a gona le di office tse le gore motho a ka ipega go tsone kana le tshwara ka tseleng tsa
written rights. So mostly ba ka ikgolaganya le rona ba ka ikgolaganya through maybe contacting me because we are still setting up le gone bo office re santse re le in the process of finalizing tsa go nna jalo raitso ere
Motlhophi BUA Voter Speak ke ka ha re wetsang ka teng tsatsi la gompieno ne re itebagantse le bobegadikgang and its role in democratic governance ke na le baeng ba me re thuso motshegwe o e leng gore is a news anchor ka ko ya rona FM ga mmogo le re le tlhogile mpuang o e leng gore ke modula stilo wa lekgotla la Botswana Online Media Association na le wena re wetsa ka nako yone me re tla kopana gape mo nakong e tlang gore be re ka tswelediša ka dikgang tse e leng gore di itebagantse le yone paka ya ditlhopho gore a gore tla kopana mo nakong yoneo